there is an echo, a slight echo. I don't know if you hear the echo. Slight echo. What we know is that the wiring that we used to have in here has been moved to the other end of the building. We're moving. We're already moving to the other end. And so we're won't be this week. May not be the next week. But guess what? We're flexible. Today is the fourth Sunday of Advent, and Advent celebrates gifts of the Spirit. First was faith or hope, and the second one was peace, and last week was love. You got it. And this week it's joy. The word for the week is joy. And when we accept all those other gifts, what do we feel? We feel joy. It's the natural outcome. I was in Barnes & Noble and I was browsing the calendars and I saw a quote. In order to keep a true perspective on life, one should have a dog that would worship us. And a cat that will keep us humble. So I want to know by a show of hands, how many of you are completely through and prepared for Christmas? Oh, look at Auntie's hands. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The rest of us think you're nuts. Or we think we're nuts. One, I don't know. You know, there can be some problems about doing your shopping too early. And some of those problems include forgetting what you bought, forgetting where you put it. And have you come across something you bought and then realized you don't know who in the world you bought it for? But you know you bought it for somebody. And it must have been strong in your head at that moment when you bought it. I go to the art shows and I see things and I think about somebody and I buy them, and if I don't give it to them pretty soon, the next time I see it, that connection has been disengaged. It goes for. It was Christmas and there was a judge and he was in a really benevolent mood and he asked the prisoner why he was there, and the prisoner said, I'm there because I did my Christmas shopping early. And the judge said, well, that's no offense. How early were you doing the shopping? And the prisoner said, before the store opened. The true spirit of Christmas is where? Where's the true Christmas spirit? It's right there. It's in our heart. And numerous times in the Christmas story, the word joy comes up. Mary's cousin, Elizabeth, said that the baby in her womb leapt with joy when she saw Mary. And what did the shepherds feel? And what did the wise men feel? And what did Mary and Joseph, the parents of the baby, feel? They all felt joy. Over and over, the Bible tells us that one of the gifts of Spirit is joy. In his book, Living Words of the New Testament, Reverend Dr. Leon Morris, I get his name right, says that you and I don't realize how much joy permeates the New Testament. That if you open the New Testament, just that you will, and read the pages that you open to, you will find joy in some form. It'll be the word joy or rejoice. And the word in Greek for joy is charis, C-H-A-R-A. And there's another Greek word that's a lot in the Bible. And it's C-H-A-R-I-S, which is grace. And grace means that which causes joy. meaning lots of other words are built on that word, Shara. The word forgiveness is built on that word, and the word for forgiveness is charizomai. And so when we forgive, we bring joy into our lives. Reverend Marr says it's not easy to let the Greek New Testament fall open and not see the word joy or rejoice or grace or forgiveness be there on the page. And I don't know what you think of when you open the Bible, but do you think that word joy? I don't know that I necessarily do, that that's the first word. One year, our sweet Darlene, who made a transition, gave me a picture of the laughing Jesus. Have any of you seen that? It's a great picture. Now, and that was the picture that was in all the churches. Would we not be more likely to think joy? Yeah, I think we would. And so are you feeling joyful?
Yes.
You are. Are you feeling joyful?
Yes.
I think sit down. That's the test of whether we're experiencing the true experience of Christmas, is whether we are experiencing joy. Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, in a book wrote, "Count it all joy." And what did she mean by that? She meant that you and I have to decide to be joyful, that it doesn't matter how trying the times are, what difficult circumstances or hurtful things that we're going through. It just means that we have to see life from that half-full perspective instead of from the half-empty perspective. And last year, at the beginning of the year, we had a white stone ceremony. And I know that some of you still have your stones and you still have your word that you picked. The word I picked for last year was joy. I even bought a bracelet that I've been wearing this year, and inside the bracelet it says joy. And what this bracelet does is it vibrates every hour. And so what happens is when it vibrates, I stop and think, right where I am. What's going on? And when I stop and think, I realize, I have a great life. I have people that love me. I have this beautiful new building. We're making progress. We're doing things. Life is good. And I can pick up the newspaper, or I can turn on the television news, and I can just go, ugh. But if my bracelet vibrates and I stop and think, I can find joy. Joy is always a thought away. There was a reason for me to give you that affirmation. It is only a thought away. When you're not feeling joyful, you get to choose. You get to make a choice. And Christmas is a wonderful time to choose joy. We get to give ourselves the privilege of feeling joy. And we get the privilege of experiencing Christmas however we want to experience it without any guilt. If it seems like there's a lacking of funds and to finance a dream Christmas, if that appears to challenge our joy, or maybe we dread being alone, away from our loved ones, we can look at Joseph and Mary. Were they alone? Were they away from their loved ones? They spent their first Christmas in a stable far away from home. Nevertheless, in the midst of that seeming lack, in the midst of lack, when they were in a barn with putting your baby in a manger, they found joy. And if our current life situation so indicates, we can have Christmas dinner in a restaurant. We don't have to cook. We get to spend Christmas in a warm climate. Or, there are airplanes that will actually take you to where it is cold, where you can shovel stuff. The Christ is born in us no matter where we are or what it looks like. And I know that I have heard people say, well, it's not like it used to be. it doesn't seem like Christmas. Have you heard anybody say that? Well, that's just an invitation to allow ourselves to find a new way of experiencing the birth of the Christ within. A new way to celebrate. That's our thing. Will it be a white Christmas or will it be a blue Christmas? Will our life be filled with joy? It's our choice. Unfortunately, there are people that don't get the idea that joy is an internal thing. They don't know that it's part of our internal programming. They don't know that joy is part of our DNA. And they're waiting for someone out there or something or some event to make them joyful. They're still looking out there for answers instead of looking within, which is where all of the answers lie. Some people are in hot pursuit of the right person to make them happy. Or they're looking for material things to make them happy. Have you ever known anybody that said, I will be joyful when, I'll be happy when I get the perfect job, when I have enough money in the bank? I've heard people say, I'll just be happy when things get back to normal. I have ceased to know what normal is like. I believe we postpone our joy and we don't expect to be joyful because somehow or other we have bought into the salvation story, the Cinderella story, the Wall Street story. The theme or the premise that someone or something is going to come along and save us or fix us. It might be the right relationship, the right amount of money. But the plot of the salvation story is that something will happen outside of us, and that will make us happy and joyful. And in various churches, I have heard, I have to suffer here in order to go to heaven so I can be rewarded later. Oh, and another version of this is, I'll be happy when Jesus comes again. You know, Jesus didn't teach us to be happy when he came back. The majority teachings of Jesus were to love one another and that the kingdom of God is here and now, not sometime in the future. In John 15, I'll go back and read that to you. Even as the Father has loved me, I also have loved you. Abide you in my love. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken unto you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be made full. Wow. Now, there's many things that can happen in life that will throw us off the track. But you and I get to make a decision, make a choice, even in the midst of a crisis, to be joyful. And if we aren't feeling joyful right now, if we don't have that Christmas spirit, there's some things that I'm going to tell you that you can do. If you're feeling lonely, then today, before you leave, reach out and introduce yourself to someone that you don't know. And if that person doesn't seem interested, introduce yourself to someone else. Find someone going to lunch and go to lunch with them. Ask someone to go to lunch. Goodness, you'll be surprised. When you're driving down the street and everybody's tense and you're at a stoplight and you look over and you catch somebody's eyes, smile at them. Smiles are contagious. The more that we look for ways to express our love and to feel love, the more joy we will feel. It's said that when Benjamin Franklin was out touting the guarantees of the Constitution, a heckler shouted at him, "Where's all this happiness that you say it guarantees?" And Franklin replied, he said, "My friend, the Constitution only guarantees the American people the right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself." We've got to catch it. We've got to choose it. We've got to count it all joy. And so when I went to ministerial school, two of my friends from there, classmates, adopted children from Russia. And one of them told this story about two American teachers who had the opportunity to spend Christmas at a Russian orphanage. And so there, for the first time, that probably some of these kids heard the Christmas story and the people that worked there. And so it was the first time that they'd heard about Mary and Joseph arriving in Bethlehem and there not being any room at the inn. And that they had to go to a stable where their child was born. And so throughout the story, the orphans and the staff, they were listening very intently. And they sat in amazement and trying to grasp the words. And after they told the story, they did a craft for the children. And they gave the children 3 little pieces of cardboard in order to make a manger. They gave them a little piece of yellow paper that they cut in strips to make straw. And they had a little square of flannel. They'd taken one of the teacher's nightgown and cut it up to get these little squares of flannel. And they had a piece of felt, and they cut a little doll out of the felt, just a little shape. And so the orphans were busy assembling their manger, and all seemed to be going very well until they went around to one table, and there was Misha. And Misha, who looked to be about 6 years old, he finished his project. And as they looked at his manger, they were startled to see that not one but 2 babies in the manger. And so they asked Misha, "Why are there 2 babies?" And so crossing his arms in front of himself and looking very serious, this is what Misha had to say. He told the story pretty accurately until they got to the part about Mary putting Jesus in the manger. And then he started to ad-lib. "And when Mary laid the baby in the manger, Jesus looked at me and asked me if I had a place to stay. I told him I have no mama and I have no papa, so I don't have a place to stay. Then Jesus told me I could stay with him. But I told him I couldn't because I didn't have a gift to give him like everybody else did. But I wanted to stay with Jesus so much, so I thought about what I had that maybe I could use for a gift. I thought maybe if I kept him warm, that would be a good gift. So I asked Jesus, if you keep me warm, will that be a good enough gift? And Jesus told me, if you keep me warm, that will be the best gift anybody ever gave. So I got into the manger, and then Jesus looked at me, and he told me I could stay with him there forever, for always. And Misha learned what we teach in Unity. That when we move into the manger of our own hearts, we discover our oneness with Christ. When we move into the manger of our own hearts, the Christ promises to be with us and love us forever. And that is the way that we know the most pure, everlasting love. That's the way we find joy. No matter what the circumstance in our lives, we have this loving, joy-filled presence that lives within us, loving us and making us whole. So it is. Amen.